All right, so we're diving deep again. This time it's all about Tesla, Q3, 2024, and where they're headed. You guys really buried us in info this time. Articles, analyses. We even snuck a peek at the earnings call transcript.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it was. But hey, that's how we get you the real story, not just the headlines everyone's seen.
I like that. Get past the hype, see what's really going on. And with Tesla, there's always hype.
Exactly. So what jumped out at you first?
Honestly, how well they're doing despite, well, everything. Global economy's got everyone nervous, EV demand is softening. But Tesla, they're not just surviving, they're thriving.
Yeah, it's almost like they're immune to the market forces affecting everyone else. What makes them so different?
Simple. They're making money. Profitable. The only EV company actually in the black right now, even those big car companies, the ones with their own EV divisions, losing money left and right.
Makes you realize Tesla's not just some startup anymore, huh? They're in a league of their own.
They are, and it shows in their numbers. Record deliveries this quarter, they even rolled out their 7 millionth vehicle.
Which is crazy. No other EV company's even close.
Nope. And remember, this is while the whole EV industry is seeing fewer cars sold overall. Tesla's bucking the trend. Big time.
All right, let's get into the specifics. Total revenues are up 8% year over year. That's $25.1 billion. Net income is even better, up 17%, hits $2.17 billion, or 62 cents a share. And adjusted earnings per share, that climbs 9% to 72 cents.
Solid numbers. Beat earnings estimates, which Wall Street always loves to see.
But there's a but coming, I can feel it.
Well, revenue was a tad shy of what analysts projected. Tiny miss, but still notable.
So reading between the lines, what's that tell us?
Couple things. One, expectations for Tesla are SKY high GH. Anything less than perfection gets noticed. Two, it's making some folks wonder if this insane growth can keep going forever.
Valid point. Though they did end Q3 with $33.6 billion in cash, equivalents, and investments. Not exactly hurting for funds.
Oh, they've got a war chest for sure. Speaking of the future, though, did you catch Elon Musk's prediction? 20 to 30% vehicle growth in 2025.
Yeah, that's bold, given, everything going on in the world right now. War, interest rates, you name it.
Right. But a few things are working in their favor. More affordable models coming in the first half of 25. That'll open them up to a wider market. Full self-driving, FSD, is getting closer to being ready for prime time. And then there's the Cybertruck.
Oh yeah, got to mention the Cybertruck. Volume production's aimed for 2026, and they're talking 2 to 4 million units sold every year. That's a whole new market right there.
It is. And don't forget about their battery tech. The 4680 cell, it's finally reached cost competitiveness. Huge deal. Projected to be the cheapest per kilowatt-hour battery in North America, beats the competition.
I know we've talked about this battery before, but for anyone just tuning in, why is this such a game changer?
Think of it like this. It's the bigger, better, smarter battery. Larger format, innovative tech inside. All of that means Tesla can cut costs, A&D boosts performance, gives them a real edge.
But they're not ditching their other battery suppliers entirely, right?
Nah, they're still buying cells from other companies. They need them. Demand's through the roof. This isn't about being exclusive, it's about having options. Smart move, especially with all the progress on full self-driving.
All right, let's talk FSD. It seems like every week they're making huge leaps. What's the latest?
Miles between interventions, that's the key metric. How far a car can drive itself before a human needs to take over. Those numbers are going up, and fast. Get this. Tesla thinks FSD will be safer than human drivers by Q2 2025.
Hold on. Safer than a person behind the wheel by next year.
That's what they're aiming for. Internally, they're projecting a 1,000x improvement in safety this year alone. They're already rolling out version 12.5 of FSD, which combines highway and city driving into one neural network.
That's wild. What's next for FSD then?
Version 13 is right around the corner. 5 to 6 times better miles between interventions compared to 12.5. Plus some fun stuff like actually Smart Summon. It shows off autonomous driving in private parking lots.
Actually, Smart Summon love that. Shows they haven't lost their sense of humor while revolutionizing the world. Speaking of which, it's not just about cars anymore for Tesla, is it? They want to be a full-blown robotaxi service.
Oh.
From making cars to running transportation. That's a huge EG shift. Are they actually doing anything to make that happen?
Absolutely. They've got this internal ride-hailing service going on for their employees in the Bay Area. Basically a real-world test lab for their tech.
Interesting. So using their own people to work out the kinks before letting the public in. Makes sense.
Exactly. And they're aiming to launch public robotaxi services in Texas and California in 2025. Texas is a bit more freewheeling, so less restrictions there. California, well, they're waiting on those regulators.
Makes you wonder what the world's going to look like when we don't even need to drive ourselves around anymore, huh?
Right. No parking hassles, no rush hour stress. It's a whole new way of thinking about transportation. And it's all part of Tesla's bigger mission, building the future. Not just of cars, but energy, AI, robotics, the whole shebang.
It's bold and honestly kind of inspiring. They want to be the most valuable company in the world, and the projects that are working on, they could actually pull it off.
One area that's blowing up for them is energy storage. Huge demand for both Megapack and Powerwall.
Right, those are their big battery systems, right? One for utility scale projects, one for homes.
You got it. Their Lathrop Megapack factory is already churning out 200 Megapacks a week. That's a production rate of 40 gigawatt hours per year. And they've got another factory coming online in Shanghai.
Wait, how soon are we talking about?
Production starts in Q1 2025 in Shanghai. They're aiming for another 20 gigawatt hours per year from that one.
So in just a few months, they're basically doubling their energy storage capacity.
It's wild. And it's not just good for Tesla, it's important for the whole transition to clean energy. They're pushing toward terawatt-hour scale production, which is what we need for a truly sustainable future.
Okay, got to ask about the Tesla Semi before we move on. Demand is insane, right? Is it actually living up to the hype?
It is. People are clamoring to get their hands on these things. Why? Because it's actually cheaper to run than a diesel truck. And that's before you even factor in the environmental benefits.
And word on the street is, it's a joy to drive.
Well, Pepsi's been using them, and their drivers are not happy about having to go back to diesel trucks.
So more Tesla Semis on the road soon.
Big time. Pilot builds start second half of 25, full production kicks off in the first half of 26. Then they ramp up fast throughout the year. It'll be interesting to see how the whole trucking industry changes because of this. Definitely worth a deep dive of its own sometime. But before we run out of time, I got to bring up Optimus. You know, Tesla's humanoid robot.
Oh yeah, Optimus. They just had their AI Day event on October 10th, right? What did they show off this time?
Optimus can actually move like a human now. It's not just standing around anymore.
So what can it do now?
They've made this next-gen hand and forearm with 22 degrees of freedom. It's crazy how human-like it can grab and move things now. The progress they've made is insane, especially in such a short amount of time.
That's mind-blowing. But why is Tesla even bothering with robots? What's the big picture here? And what does this mean for the future of work?
All great questions. And those are exactly what we're going to explore in the next part of our deep dive into Tesla. So yeah, robots and AI, it's mind-blowing stuff. It could change everything.
It really could. It's like science fiction coming to life.
Mm-hmm.
So where does Optimus fit into all of this? What do they actually want to use it for?
Well, at first, it seems like they're focused on their own factories. Automating tasks, you know. Makes sense. They've always been super innovative with their manufacturing.
Right, like a testing ground where they can perfect it before unleashing it on the world. But they're not going to stop there, are they?
Oh, definitely not. They're talking about Optimus doing all sorts of stuff eventually, like household chores, helping older folks, even dangerous jobs that humans shouldn't be doing, disaster relief, stuff like that.
So it's not just TSLA about making factories more efficient. It's about making a robot that can help people in their everyday lives.
Exactly. Imagine a personal assistant, but super strong, never gets tired, and way cheaper than hiring someone in the long run.
Sounds great on paper, but it does make you wonder, what happens when robots can do most of the jobs that humans do now? What happens to the economy?
Totally valid concern. People are worried about robots taking jobs, causing chaos. And it's a debate we've been having for a while now, and it's only going to get more intense as robots get smarter.
So what do we do? Just try to stop technology from advancing?
That's probably not going to work, and it might not even be a good idea. I think we need to adapt, focus on education, retraining, teaching people the skills they'll need to work alongside robots.
So it's not about being afraid of robots, it's about learning to work with them.
Yep. Optimus. And robots like it. They could create new opportunities, make us more productive, improve our lives. We just got to be smart about it. The future with robots can be a good thing, I think.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Tesla's mission, it's way bigger than just cars now, right?
Oh, for sure. They're saying they're building the future. Transportation, energy, AI, robotics. It's ambitious,
right,
but they're going after it with everything they've got.
It's like they're playing a different game than all the other car companies. While everyone else is trying to catch up to Tesla with EVs, Tesla's already looking years, decades ahead.
They are. It's fascinating to watch. Look at their energy storage business. It's exploding.
And it's not Jakey's batteries. It's the whole sustainable energy infrastructure. how we generate, store, distribute energy cleanly and efficiently.
And this is where their vertical integration strategy is key. They're involved in every step, mining the lithium for batteries, building the cells, installing the systems.
Like they're creating their own little renewable energy empire.
Exactly. And remember their master plan from earlier this year.
The one where they talked about transitioning the whole planet to sustainable energy.
That's the one. Solar power, batteries, electric vehicles. They laid out how it's actually possible to do it. Technically, it's doable.
So it's not a matter of can we, it's a matter of will we.
Exactly. It'll take everyone working together. Global effort, big choices.
But if they even get close to what they're aiming for, it would be huge for humanity. You almost get caught up in their enthusiasm. It's contagious.
It is inspiring to see a company that dreams so big. And they're not just talking, they're doing it. Look at their factories, their cars, their energy projects. It's real progress.
And they're not wasting any time. They know we have to act on climate change now, W. So for our listeners, what does all of this mean for them?
Think about it. Tesla's vision is electric transport, clean energy, robots helping us out every day.
It's like a whole new world.
And it's closer than we think. We're going to have to adapt, learn new skills, be open to change.
But it could be a good change. A healthier planet, a more efficient economy, better lives. It's worth it. But before we go to part 3, there's one thing I keep going back to. We're talking about record growth, these ambitious plans, but they're doing it all while the market is kind of a mess.
True. Other car companies are struggling, but Tesla is breaking records, building more factories.
It's like they're playing by different rules. What's their secret? How are they doing so well when everyone else is struggling?
I think it's a few things. First, their customers love them. You don't see brand loyalty like that very often, especially with car companies.
It's almost like a cult following.
It kind of is. And they've been really smart about their strategy. Build a strong brand, sell directly to customers, invest heavily in tech and innovation.
And they're not afraid to shake things up, are they?
Yeah.
Challenging the way the whole auto industry works. And it's working for them.
Absolutely. And let's not forget their commitment to sustainability. That's a big part of who they are, and it matters to a lot of people these days.
It's not just about electric cars, it's about the whole sustainable package. Solar panels, energy storage, EVs.
It's a powerful message. It's not just about driving a cool car, it's about being part of the solution.
It's about being part of the future. And speaking of the future, Tesla's plans are, well, they're pretty wild.
They want to be the most valuable company on Earth, and they're setting themselves up to do it. Robotaxis, humanoid robots, colonizing Mars. They're not holding back.
It's almost too much to process, all the stuff they're working on, but exciting at the same time.
It is. They're pushing the limits, and they're not afraid to fail along the way.
And that might be a big part of their success, right? They take risks, experiment, learn from mistakes.
Yeah.
They're constantly getting better.
That's what sets them apart. They're not just building products, they're building a future.
All right, before we wrap up this part, one last question for you. We've seen companies come and go in the tech world. Is Tesla just a fad, or are they building something that will last?
Tough question. Only time will tell for sure. But I think Tesla is definitely a company worth watching. They're changing the world as we speak, and their influence is only going to grow.
Love them or hate them, you got to admit, they're making an impact. They're pushing the whole auto industry to change, making us think differently about transportation, energy, technology. So as we head into the final part of our deep dive, here's something to think about. Is Tesla just ahead of its time, or are they building a future that we can't even imagine yet?
We'll explore that question more in part 3, where we'll get into some of the specifics of their plans and predictions. All right, welcome back. We've talked about a lot with Tesla. Record deliveries, robotaxis, their whole vision for a sustainable future.
My head's still spinning a little, honestly.
Okay.
But it's exciting stuff. They're really pushing the limits of what's possible.
Yeah, and they're not just talking. They're putting their money where their mouth is. Tons of investment in R&D, new factories popping up everywhere.
And that vertical integration thing we talked about, it's a big deal. Controlling more of their supply chain, from the raw materials for batteries, all the way to selling the cars.
Huge advantage for them. Lower costs, more efficiency, keeps them ahead of the competition. Plus, they have more control over quality, making sure things are sustainable.
So it's not just about profits, it's about doing things the right way, which is probably a big part of why their customers are so loyal.
Oh, for sure. Tesla owners, they're passionate. They're not just buying a car. They're buying into this whole idea of the future.
It's like being part of a club, a movement towards a better, more high-tech future.
Exactly. And that's powerful. You don't see that kind of connection with many other brands.
All right, as we wrap up this Tesla deep dive, What's the one thing that stands out to you most about them?
Man, that's a tough one. There's so much to admire. But honestly, I think it's their sheer belief in what they're doing. They're willing to take risks, to go against the grain, to push the limit.
They're definitely not afraid to shake things up.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them so interesting to follow. Always innovating, trying new things, pushing the envelope.
And they truly believe they're making the world better. Electric cars, clean energy solutions, AI, robots. They're tackling some huge problems.
Which brings us back to that question from earlier. Is Tesla just ahead of the game? Or are they building a future we haven't even imagined yet?
Probably a bit of both. They're ahead in a lot of ways, but they're also giving us a glimpse of what's possible. A sustainable, innovative future. It gives you hope.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about after all this?
I think the big thing is the future's being built right now, and Tesla's right in the middle of it. Whether you're into their cars or not, they're having a huge impact, making us rethink what's possible and giving us a vision of a future that's pretty exciting.
So Tesla's a company to watch, that's for sure. Who knows what they'll come up with next? That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, and keep those brains curious.